Well, yesterday's post about Return of King's author Roosh and his allegedly rape-supporting club of inadequate males went down like a lead balloon. I took a gander at his Facebook page yesterday. I took a gander at it today, and those people who would potentially be interested were very busy threatening to kill him. I think it's possible to give such people too much credit. He's just a little guy after all. I took much the same view about Harley when Wolfe was at his most furious about him. There are key moments in your life which define you, and getting annoyed by little men should count as moments when you realise how big you are. In the case of Roosh, he's just trying to make a living like everybody else. His points are fairly puerile, but there's a lot of money in the puerile market, especially in the USA, although he seems to think many of his fans are British. I caught a video of someone trying to interview him, and the punters are all clean-cut young men, which says more about their sense of society-grade emasculation than about women. Far be it from me to pander to this market, but I strongly suspect I could help them a lot more than he can. Food for thought. So, all about the love. I've written on this topic before, so forgive me if you've read my books or been around for a while and seen this stuff covered. It's not quite my favourite topic, but I know it's something I know rather a lot about in a variety of contexts. Here is what love is not. It is not a list of conditions or aspirations. It is not a duty. It is not a game. It is not a weakness. It is not about ownership. It is not necessarily about suffering. It is not necessarily about being together. It is not necessarily about sex. It definitely is not about being nice to one another. Here is what love is. It is irrational. It is about self-development in every context. It requires focus and strength. It requires the development of a high degree of self-expression. It is about stamina against the odds. It is a self-challenge. It is similar to a lengthy backgammon or chess match, depending on who you're playing. Obviously, in my case, I'm playing this lengthy backgammon match against me, as attempting to play against Wolfe would be rather pointless. He probably does not know how to play, for one thing, and for another, I am a rather good player. So perhaps we should look on this as a lengthy exhibition match that I am playing for his benefit. I do realise that a great number of my readers will wonder to what end I would pursue this project. Do I seriously want to be hooked up with Wolfe? The answer to this question is obscure even now. I'm working from a very small amount of information delivered in some haste on a very limited number of occasions. Without going into it too deeply, it does not take much information exchange to pick up several years' worth of communication, and since I am, for some reason, hypersensitive to it, it is much better to avoid as much as possible. It would drive you insane if you let it, so it is much better to assume that you are taking a small seed and growing it carefully for some unknown end. I would not, in person, be beneficial for Wolfe's career, given the grief that he has been given over the years. I would not enjoy the public eye, and I would not appreciate the people that he clearly relishes being with. The reality is, despite my intuition, he would be much better off with someone less connected, less interested, and considerably more attractive. This does not stop me seeing things every day that I am well aware that he would find as funny as I do, and they are by no means obvious to anybody else. We should probably look on my project as a well-meaning and rather fractious hug from a very safe distance. While I'm sure in another life it might have worked out very well, I have pondered this carefully, and I do not see myself ever making myself a good fit for a power position in the sense that he appears to require. I do not think there is anything at all strange about this, but then I've been in a variety of very strange situations throughout my life, many of them extremely unpleasant. This absentee situation that I have created, on the other hand, has been extremely fruitful, and does not cramp his style one bit. He's extremely welcome to do whatever he does, as long as it's not making him miserable. If I suspected misery, it might be a different story, but I try not to look. In addition, the situation that I'm in makes it impractical to either look or worry. So to conclude, the person you're in a relationship with is not necessarily the person you truly love or end up loving, because love itself does not really require companionship, feeding, or conditions. Those are earthly requirements, which Plato would refer to as bestial. When he says this, he means that you require these things as an animal, not the modern context you're probably more familiar with. What we're looking at in relation to the In a Disguise Wolfe epic is a tangible expression of what Plato refers to as divine love, which is a form of inspiration in order to express something which cannot normally be expressed. An abstraction which is not only useful but has enabled me to unlock the door on my own peculiar brand of bravado. It is not something that I expect poor old Rush V will have much of a handle on.